Before I get into my speech, I want to recognize the work of the two teams, the IMF and the Croatian team, for organizing this conference. And I suggest we give these guys a round of applause. Thank you. It is fantastic to be with you again. I am particularly pleased that this time the Commission wisely allowed Valdis Dombrovskis to be here. Last time he was sent as an ambassador to an inauguration, if I remember correctly. I can say that listening to you last evening gave me a very high degree of confidence that this time it will be different. This time Europe will stand up for itself, for its citizens, and for the betterment of the whole world. We are together at a time of higher uncertainty. The fog over our heads is actually thicker. And that makes it even more important to compare notes and see through this uncertainty and make the best out of the opportunities challenge always presents. I want to start, before I get into the challenges, I want to reflect on the successes this region has achieved. We have had 3 remarkable decades of reforms promoting economic openness and integration, first with the EU, and then for some within the EU as member states, for others within the EU family as candidate countries. And we should not underestimate how significant that step towards enlarging the European family, these steps, one after another, have been. As Boris reminded us, this has led to significant convergence of countries with their better off peers. Since the mid-90s, incomes have more than doubled, and the gap relative to the advanced Europe has shrunk sharply. Manufacturing became a catalyst for productivity growth as integration into European and global value chains helped the CEE economies reach beyond their domestic markets. And at the same time, openness to foreign direct investment accelerated capital accumulation and technology transfer. And of course, EU accession played and continues to play a huge role. Powered by domestic structural reforms put in place on the path to EU accession, countries that have joined the EU accelerated their income convergence with advanced Europe and outperformed comparable countries outside of the bloc. So, what is the conclusion so far? Well done. Second, well, we have also unfinished business. The journey is far, far from being completed. One thing that we have observed with a little bit of sadness is very often, if not always, when countries join the European Union, the drive for reform eases somewhat. I was just talking to our friend from Moldova, saying, look, why you're an accession country, step on the pedal, because once you get in, there would be these natural tendencies to say, oh, thank God we are in, we can relax. But relax, we cannot. We have to recognize that after the global financial crisis, we have seen a drop in investment, and this has contributed to a productivity slump that has only worsened after COVID. Revitalizing reforms is absolutely paramount. We see how we are being affected by tightness of our labor markets, by high energy costs, by the fact that technology is moving very fast, and if we are not moving even faster, we risk to fall behind. I would really urge us to be ambitious to pursue reforms, and to do it because on top of everything, we are now faced with huge new challenges. The sweeping disruptions to the world trade system are plain for everybody to see. The way we function is being tested. And while most of the countries in this room are less impacted directly by US tariffs, let us be very clear, the indirect impact is significant, as these disruptions pose a major threat to the region's main trading partners and to the overall economic model that Boris described so well. Small open economies need trade to improve the well-being of their people. Trade tensions and uncertainty complicate domestic and foreign investment plans, and this is particularly painful for a region that needs access to modern production processes, needs more jobs in high productivity sectors, and needs this open world to expand economic opportunities. So what is my main message? Standing still, taking shelter when the winds are blowing, hoping for the storm to pass is not a plan. It would be much wiser to assume that many of the shifts we are witnessing are here to stay, that more storms are gonna hit us. So what do we do? In a stormy weather, how can we actually turn the winds from a risk for our navigation to a tailwind from, you call it the Adriatic Bora, make the Adriatic Bora work for us, for our sail, not against it. I want to point to three critical priorities. First, steering a steady course in terms of macroeconomic policy, monetary and fiscal stability as our most reliable mean to deal with uncertainty. Second, getting our ship in better order so it can move faster, and that means pursue structural reforms for growth. Third, integrate more deeply into and within the single market of the EU. Strength through regional cooperation. Let me briefly discuss each one of these points. Priority one, actions to mitigate uncertainty. It is always important to have sound monetary policy, sound fiscal policy, even more important when uncertainty is higher. Macroeconomic and financial stability is the anchor on which you can build your plans. I see some emerging risks there. On the monetary policy side, the pressure on central bank independence has become harder. We all have a role to play to protect it. I know that in the roundtable we had yesterday, this was a topic that came time and again. We also recognize that on the fiscal front, how many of you are finance ministers and those working in finance authorities? Raise your hand. Let me see. Okay. Well, this audience, how many are central bankers? Very good. Central bankers this time have an upper hand in this audience. For the finance authorities, I mean, I'm very keen to see central bankers staying united and making a strong case for central bank independence. For the fiscal authorities, it is going to be a very tough time ahead of you. Why? Because over the last couple of years, what has happened is shock after shock after shock forced more fiscal largeness. They forced providing more support to households and to businesses. The result, higher deficits, higher debt, but even more problematic, businesses and households getting accustomed to that largeness. And now we need to go for fiscal consolidation. We have to say enough of this sugar rush. We have to do it differently. While at the same time there are more pressures for defense, more pressures from climate, more pressures for demography. So I think that this is where the fund also can be very helpful, so we can have fiscal policy that is prudent in terms of raising revenues, closing tax loopholes, prudent in terms of improving the quality of spending. Second priority, boost growth potential. We have done a very interesting study. I recommend to everybody here, take a look. It shows that this potential is quite significant. Domestic reforms across the CESEE, let me say it simply, the CESEE region could lift GDP levels by 7% over the medium term. And for the Western Balkans, even more, by 9%. Just imagine what you can do if you have that much more in terms of GDP, and that you can only do if you are relentless pursuing these reforms around the labor markets, around the investment climate, around the governance performance. And the third priority, last on my list, but definitely not least, work together. Integration is the only way for our small economies to be stronger in a world of more frequent and devastating shocks. It has been a source of success for us, and it is still with huge potential. I look at Valdis. We need the European Union to become relentlessly ambitious to complete the single market. At the IMF, we have done a study that shows that internal barriers among the 27 member states of the EU are the equivalent of 44% tariffs for goods and 110% tariffs for services. Obviously, this is in our hands to solve. And I know that Valdis gets up in the morning, goes to bed thinking about it. Boris, and working on it much harder than managing the exit of the UK from the European Union. As a European, I see 2025 as a decisive year for the European Union and for the world. Europe has a tremendous opportunity and responsibility to lead. Europe is fantastic as a place that operates on the basis of rules, where there is respect for each and every one of countries, big and small, where there is a social capital built on the basis of our cooperation. And I do hope we would see Europe raising to the challenge that is presented to us, the challenge to lead. We have looked into concrete steps to do so: a more integrated electricity market, more capital for startups, better labor mobility across borders, simpler regulation, and yes, capital markets union. That together can bring tremendous benefit in terms of competitiveness for Europe and can raise EU GDP by about 3% over the next 10 years. I was a commissioner for budget in my days in the European Union. I also would put a word to Europe to think about the value of the collective, and I would argue that the EU budget can lend more of a hand to Europe's transformation. I know this is not an easy conversation, but at this time it is a paramount decision to be made to have that capacity to lift up Europe's potential. So let me conclude in the following way. Throughout history, there are moments that present incredible challenge, but also moments of incredible opportunity, an opportunity not to be missed. This is one of these moments. And I so strongly believe that this region, and more broadly Europe, is gonna stand on its feet, meet what is expected from us at this moment in our history. I'm not gonna finish with Latin, Boris. Somebody has to break this tradition. But I remember fondly how when I was here last time, it was your birthday and I sang for you. And I'm going to finish by singing for everybody my favorite song of all times, very appropriate for the day. And it is, we will rock you. Thank you.
Managing Director.